Xbox Record This is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. Hosted by three BFFs, Daddy Diwali, Chipotlebear, and Bubble Boy and Seven. This is Cortana. And remember, don't make a girl a promise if you know you can't keep it. As always, Spartans, see you online.
Oh, hello. Coach Prime Time, Daddy Diwali here, and welcome to Xbox Record This, episode 85. I just realized I've got a hideous blankets and messed up pillows over there. The set is ruined, so while I go update that, Chipotlebear, why don't you tell me what's going on with you, and then send it over to the Bubble Boy.
Yes, sir. I'm doing really well, man. Same with you. We were just talking before the show that it's just been a very busy week at work in the world of education for the three of us. Everybody's obviously getting very excited for winter break, but we're not there yet. And this is that time of year where everyone's just like, everybody needs something and everybody's busy and we're just running out of time. So it has been very busy. But at the same time, very excited to be on break very shortly, very excited to play some games. And of course, happy here to talk tonight about some awesome gaming news. So I'm doing really well, man. I also got a little delightful gingerbread cream ale powder rum from Living the Dream. Delightful. So I'm doing all right, man. Bubble Boy, how about you, bud?
Okay, it has. I'll round out that trio of it. Has felt like the longest week I think I've had in school in a long.
It's not even over for me.
Time.
I still have a lot.
It's not over for me either. It's I got to work tomorrow. We don't have kids, but I have a million things to do.
Is tomorrow your last day, and then you're on break?
Heck yeah, man.
Oh, that sucks.
What about you?
I go through Tuesday, and my girls go through Thursday.
What?
Oh, isn't that crazy?
That is Thursday.
My life just got.
I'm Tuesday. I'm done.
But
Tuesday.
They must go a lot longer into January. That's just
they don't go back to like the 9th or 10th or something.
We go back the 3rd.
Okay. To be fair, I'd rather have this
same.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I wish I was right there with you.
Yeah.
Same.
Right.
So,
thank you, boys, for covering for me there. This is Xbox Record This, a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. This week, we're going to be talking about the Lame Awards and some various other topics regarding Xbox. But before we do that, guys, we're going to mix it up this week. Oh, wait, that's right. Shoutouts. We will keep it with shoutouts this week. Jose, I did not get any shout outs or feedback.
To be fair, I got some feedback though.
Yes, we did get one person. Thank you. Let's hear it.
So definitely one of our top fans, my mom. Shout out to my mom. Thanks, Mom. We have dinner with my mother and father and my brother every Sunday, and she was very eager to talk to me about her feedback for the show. And she actually agreed with a lot of what we kind of landed on in the sense. She was like, look, I really love when you guys do your top 5. I love the shout outs and I know that's important. She goes, but if you really are trying to grow this podcast, if you're trying to enter the world of gaming, she goes, it might be a better idea to kind of start with that and then go into some of the more fun stuff. And she even suggested doing some of the audio stingers that we do, like Chance's News Team Assemble and some of the other stuff. She goes, that'd be a good way to like segment the two kind of pieces of it. And she said, to be fair, she goes, you don't have to necessarily jump right in. Like, it's nice to have something to get you into that. But, she goes, I totally understand waiting 30 minutes to get into the news for people that are really here for the news is a challenge. So that was her feedback. She still said to keep doing what we do. She loves the show and is, of course, excited for everything coming in 2023.
Well, we appreciate that, Annette. Shout out to Jose's mom.
Annette.
Yeah, and I think we all agree. I think we're all on the same page. We are going to mix it up. And there's going to be a lot of changes, guys. Spoiler alert. We've got some big things planned. So, yeah, I was contemplating, like, does that apply? Whatever. So let's jump into what have we been playing, boys. We're going to switch it up. What have we been playing? Jose, I'm thinking you've played the least out of all of us. So why don't we go with you? Then I'll follow up, and then we'll end it with Bubble Boy. Because Bubble Boy, he's putting in like 80 hours every week.
You're right. I've played the least in terms of titles, but I actually have a full review for us. So I'm happy to put that here if you want, or I can save that for later. But I've only been playing the Callisto Protocol, and I did finish the game about a day and a half ago.
Here, about the review, give me just like 5 sentences, but I'd really appreciate, Jose, if you made a review and put
I'm working on that too.
8-minute
That is in the
on
works.
YouTube. So a quick review, a couple pros, couple cons. Is it worth your time or money on the XRT rating scale? Thank you.
Absolutely. So, I've really enjoyed it. I will say just quick stats for people that are interested, because I would be interested. My total playtime was 13 hours and 15 minutes, according to True Achievements, and I finished with a gamer score of 815 out of 1,000. And that is really not going for the achievements, because I am not like these two achievement hunters over here. I basically just play the games. I like looking for collectibles, but I will not go out of my way, and very rarely will I use a guide for a game. So I think 815 out of 1,000 is pretty stellar.
I like it.
There's only 26 achievements, and I didn't get 4 of them. So if that's any consolation, it's probably pretty easy, 1,000 out of 1,000 for those looking. In terms of cons, the only really big ones I would say are that while there were a lot of complaints about the combat, I thought the combat was fine. I actually thought that it was weird how much of the screen was taken up by the character. Like, I love the over-the-shoulder third person. I really do. I love it in Resident Evil. I love it in Dead Space. I just feel like they made Jacob a little too big and a little too center. I wish it was a little bit more to the left and a little smaller. That's what she said?
That's what she said. Yes, thank you.
But otherwise, I thought it was fine. The only other thing that I thought was a complaint was that the enemy variety was okay. It was the enemies were good. The bosses weren't. There were only really 2 kinds of bosses. And honestly, I think that was fair because of the rarity of weapons. I get why they did that. But after the 3rd or 4th time you play this one type of boss, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Pros, I think, were awesome. And I could go on and on, but the ones I will definitely hit on, it's a beautiful game. It's visceral. The sound is incredible. It looks super dope on the OLED. And even the combat is very movie-like. It's not Elden Ring where it's ultra precise and you have to be timing is always on. It's a lot more forgiving, but it's meant to be in your face and disgusting and these monsters and stuff. And on that same note, it's very gory, excessively gory, but almost in a beautiful way, because they really have put a lot of creativity into the deaths of the character, which I know that's very morbid, but I thought that was very nice of them to do and make it different. The other thing I will just say is, I am almost never the person in a game who uses the environment to kill enemies. I just don't think of it in the moment. I'm too focused on the gameplay. I focus on my weapons. And this game almost forces you to, but not in a bad way. It's just very abundant and it's very helpful, especially because it is a true survival horror where there's very limited equipment. And the equipment is actually randomized, believe it or not. So one time a playthrough, you could get money and weapons and health. And the next time you play through and you get only money. And the next time if you die, you only get weapons. It's interesting in that element. And so learning to use the environment, learning to use the stasis, which I very rarely used in Dead Space, was really great. So overall, I will say it's definitely worth your time. In terms of your money, if you're a horror fan, absolutely worth it at full price. Go out and buy it. You will have fun. You will enjoy it. It'll creep you out. It's a great game. If you're not
$70 for a 13-hour game, I just want to clarify.
If you're a horror fan, is what I said. Okay. Qualified with that. If you're not, if you just like kind of general games, if you want to check it out, I think more into that 50 range is probably more fair. Again, I think that people have the wrong idea about games. To me, spending $70 on a 13-hour game is a deal, because it's like paying $5 an hour. What else can I do for $5 an hour? Very little. Right. And if it's something I truly love and enjoyed, which I did, I think that's totally fair. And again, I want to support awesome devs like Striking Distance Studio. I also think they went above and beyond by doing that companion podcast with Gwendolyn Christie and Michael Ironside. They really, really did this really well. And the best part, and this is not a spoiler, but there is a slight possibility that there could be a sequel. And I certainly personally hope there will be. But it also, I think, wrapped up really, really well. So that's kind of a quick review. I'm going to work on something video for YouTube for us eventually as well. But man, it was a great game. I have no complaints. The only other quick thing I'll say, and then I'll pass it back in terms of things I've been watching. I watched the movie Troll on Netflix. I thought it was super fun. It's a cheesy, campy monster movie, but very different, and I think was really, really cool. If you're interested in just something kind of mindless, check out Troll on Netflix. That's all I have to say.
Copy that. Thank you, Jose. For me, guys, I got platinum trophy number 32, and that would be the Mass Effect trilogy, or sorry, Mass Effect 2. I completed Mass Effect 2 this week. And a lot of people think that this is the best of the trilogy. And after playing again, towards the end, I was like, man, I really want this to wrap up. You know, I was like, the side missions are not very good, especially when you discover random planets. You're there for a little bit and you kill a few guys and you like press a button. That's
And
it.
the mining, oh my
Oh, the
goodness.
mining. Oh, God. I even looked up how much the minimums you need. And then I forgot if you have over 100,000, you get a bonus in Mass Effect 3. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to keep mining some more. So I did that. You're right. The mining loyalty missions are great. That is definitely the highlight of the game. Not even necessarily the recruitment missions, but specifically the loyalty missions. Great. I can see why everybody loves those. Suicide mission, again, awesome. I think why people loved it so much at the time is because it really is a huge leap compared to Mass Effect 1, like in every possible way for the better. But then at the same time, I feel like Mass Effect 3, I just started it like earlier tonight. And man, this game is so good. The opening of Mass Effect 3, you guys, if that doesn't get you pumped, that's like, I forget that first mission, just the whole opening sequence, incredible. But shout out to Mass Effect, greatest trilogy ever. Once I finish Mass Effect 3, I will be going into High on Life. I'm very excited to jump into that. But I do want to say, guys, for my Mass Effect 2, I'm trying to be as renegade as possible. You see the renegade red behind me? I have the red lights on my guys. Spoiler alert.
Who'd you kill?
A Krogan in Mass Effect 1 is gone. You know, Kaiden.
I did that on accident the first time.
No, I did it on purpose. Okay, watch. And it gets better. So I did everybody's loyalty mission. I didn't even activate one of the characters you get towards the end, the robot friend. Just gave him straight to Cerberus. Yep, it gets better.
Really?
And then my only surviving members at this moment, Zaid, Morinth, by the way, got Morinth. Don't even have Samara.
You know what's funny? The only time I ever had her was when I did my Renegade run too. Are they linked? Is that why? You have to do Renegade?
Well,
no,
yeah,
I had her for a little bit.
You can choose, but yeah, that's the Renegade action. So anyway, so it's Zaid, Morinth, and Miranda.
Obviously.
No, well, Miranda can only die in certain ways. And I think there's one more. I can't remember.
What about the assassin?
And Tally. But my plans for Tally is she's going to be gone too. So I do not have Garrus. I do
plans
not have
of
Grunt.
Come on.
I do not have Thane. I do not have Kasumi. I do not have Jack. It's bad, you guys. This is hands down.
You don't have Jack either?
My worst
short leave ever.
Yeah, well, she's going to be around, but trust me, once we get to her planet, so long. So spoilers, I don't want to get into too much more than that. Guys, this is ultimate Renegade run. Matthew is disgusted. He's been watching the whole time and he's like, I can't even watch this crap. He's just absolutely disgusted. Shout out to Mass Effect, you guys. Just a fantastic game. Once I finish that, I'm going to retire the PS5 for a long time. Chance, are you interested in a Scuff Reflex controller for your PS5? Because here's the thing.
Bright pink?
No, it's not. It's a nice. I should grab it for you.
No, I know. You showed it to us last week.
Yeah, but I want to say about the controller, it's just so uncomfortable. My hands hurt. The battery life. I'm considering getting.
Scuff didn't do a better battery life?
No, it's like it's on par with the exact same as the PlayStation. And don't trust me on, it's a good built controller. I really like the paddles on the back. Like I've switched to where I'm trying to do Mass Effect 3 with only using paddles, not using my thumb on the buttons. So always on the thumbsticks. I'm very interested in you getting an Xbox Scuff controller for sure. Like I think that's going to be my next purchase over the next, or if I need another Elite. So the only reason I'm offering it to you, Bubble Boy, is because I'm going to keep one, but there's another one called the Vitrix Pro that comes out tomorrow, I believe. And it's basically in the shape of an Xbox controller, and you can pick and choose how you want the D-pad and the analog sticks, so you can have it be offset. And it's basically straight up an Xbox controller, but with PlayStation circle, cross, triangle, square, but no vibration function. So you sacrifice that, and I'm like,
oh wow.
So I don't know. If you're interested, think about it. I might just buy it to see how it is, but that is what I've mostly been playing. Jumped into Warzone, played some Halo as well. That's it. Just Mass Effect. Bubble Boy, what about you?
In lesser important news, I have been slogging away at Pentiment on my Xbone at night, and it's at this point, I am doing it as a chore, genuinely. Like, I'm going
I need to
against.
interrupt right here. It's funny you say that because for some people, this game is hitting big time. Like I see Shinobi tweeting about it. I see some other people like, this game's incredible. And then for some others, like yourself, like it's just not, just
Yeah.
didn't grab you, huh?
So, what was the best book you've ever read? And we all know the answer to that. Not Jose, but
The
Daniel.
Kite Runner.
Okay. And how did
Idiot.
No. It's Hatchet in fourth
Okay,
grade.
great. No, I mean, that's really what this is. It's like a slightly more, I don't know. It's not
What did
entertaining.
Ains call it
I'm
on
sorry.
Season Gaming? Didn't he call it like a living book or living
I don't know.
story?
He
Yeah.
liked it too.
There's a term
Ains
for it.
liked it. A lot of people
It's
like
not
it.
bad for what it is. You cannot call it a 10 out of 10. I just don't get it. Like,
Yeah, you can say that about God of War too, Chance. Like,
I have said that about
No,
God
I
of
know.
War.
I'm just saying, like,
it's
everything's
just and then like strip all that away in terms of like, well, it's not this big budget, and we knew it was a very story driven. I'm sorry, the story isn't very good. It's not compelling. The big thing has happened that drives the story. I could care less. I really could. And again, none of my background seems to matter. None of my choices seem to matter. Anyway, Pentiment, I'm gonna finish it just because I feel like I need to. But in better news, what I've been doing is playing Bloodborne, and oh baby,
I got
has
a
it
bone to pick. Better than Elden Ring.
away.
It feels better than Elden Ring. I just find that hard to believe.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
When-
Your text said you said it feels better than Elden Ring.
I'm like
I will
99%
read
sure
it.
I didn't say that. Yeah, go back and find that one. That if I did, that's not at all what I meant. I think I was saying something about like it feels so good to be back into a game like Elden Ring. I don't know what's amazing about it, and I think anyone who played this before Elden Ring would probably be like, "Well, duh." But going from Elden Ring, that was so okay. Tell me what I said.
Holy caca, I'm enjoying Bloodborne. Can't believe how much better it feels after having played Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, how much better Bloodborne feels after having played
Yeah,
Elden
because
Ring.
you learn the
Remember I
pairing
picked it
system and
up.
stuff. Yeah,
Remember
that's not how. Yeah,
I tried it for 3 or 4 hours and didn't love it.
Oh,
and
you're
then
saying because of your experience playing Elden
in
Ring,
Elden Ring,
you
exactly.
feel more competent at Bloodborne.
Exactly.
How is the 30 frames treating you?
Stop. I don't notice it at all. It's that game. It's so well done. I'm loving it. I'm having a blast. I'm getting the parrying down, which is making it so much
Yeah,
fun.
didn't Baga say it was a lot easier in that compared to
It's
Sekiro?
yeah, but or no, if I could convince you to play it.
I'm not playing Bloodborne, but I think I'm going to get Sekiro. It's on sale again for $30.
Good.
I think
Please do.
I'm finally going to do it.
But so what's so cool and what made Elden Ring make it even better for me is that I am desperately trying to play it without using any guides. ... I did use one guide. I could not for the life of me figure out how to level up for the first like 5 hours of the game. I was running around with like 10,000. They're called blood echoes in this one, and which is like the same as runes. I was running around with like 10 levels stashed and could not figure it out. And finally I was like, screw it. I have to look up one guide. And you you have to have faced one of the bosses first or picked up this other thing and used it, and I just would have never known to like I would have never considered doing that. So I was like, I'm not gonna go face this boss. I knew exactly where it was, but I was terrified to do it with 10,000 blood echoes sitting in the bank. So now that I've done that, it's so cool because since it's not open world, I feel confident in my ability to like uncover every nook and cranny that is offered in the game, which is still really extensive. Like that would obviously, if you're talking Elden Ring, you would look at me like I'm an idiot or just insane. But here it's I'll say quote manageable, because it's still a ton of exploring and stuff, and obviously explorings are always dangerous. But man, that just expertly precise combat is back and the dodging is back, and I have been enjoying the parrying. So I'm loving it. I think about it when I go to bed. I think about it like when I wake up, and it's God, it's so good.
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Expect a review on that as well.
Oh yeah, I've already been figuring out my clips. I got one clip of like 3 parries in a row that were perfect, and it's gonna be good. The TLDR review, of course.
Yeah,
So
no, I
it'll
like
only
the
be
name, by the
60
way. I didn't
seconds
say
long.
that. I do like that. You're thinking these are for shorts, 60
Correct.
seconds.
Because
Okay.
and I think
It's
a lot
good.
of
It's a
times
great name.
one of my ideas about that was like, what do people type into Google, and what are things that they're going to be searching that could pop up and get clicks? And TLDR is one that the children type in all the time. So
Very nice. Well, guys, that has been what we have been playing. Let's move into some Xbox news for the week.
All right. That's weird.
Well, Bubba Boy, newscast.
News team, assemble!
That's what I've been waiting for,
How
guys.
that happened. Oh my
Let's jump into the
God.
main topic right away before we even talk about the announcements and the winners at the Lame Awards. This has been a hot topic since last, what was it, Thursday? The absence
Yeah, it was Thursday.
of Xbox at the Game Awards. Before I even throw it over to you, a lot of people are a lot of internet. I can't believe Ryan McCafferty even wrote an article saying how it was a slap in the face of Xbox fans that Xbox was not at the Game Awards. Before I throw it to you, one, was it a big deal that Xbox wasn't there? And two, Xbox basically, are they in a lose-lose situation no matter what they do? Because you show too many games, people complain. You don't show any games, people complain. My thing is right away is I don't even care that they weren't there. I don't think of the Game Awards as this big, great, like, oh, millions of people are watching this. Are there really millions of people watching this, you guys? Like, really, outside of the people, before I throw it over to you, Bubble Boy, before you can go next, before like when you really think about it, besides the people who are into it like we are and the diehards on Twitter, are there really that many people outside of our little nest really watching it? And then I want to say, what did PlayStation show? It's not like they came out bawling. They didn't even show anything first party. They showed Death Stranding, which is Hideo Kojima owned, and they're a second party studio doing an exclusive for them. And that's
Jim
also
Ryan didn't even show up.
Yeah, and exactly. Joseph and Kyle said that horrible look. Jim Ryan, nobody from Sony headquarters was there. At least, as bad of a year as Xbox has had. Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer right there. A lot of flack thrown at them too. Phil, like, get that camera on my face. So I personally don't think it's that big of a deal. Yes, they have been there, and yes, it would have been nice to have something. But at the same time, my question to you guys is, what would they have shown that they haven't shown us already? We've seen Starfield multiple times, or not Starfield's, Redfall. We know Starfield is coming. We've seen something. Why show it again? We know it's supposed to come this year. We know Forza is supposed to come. They've shown something. What were they supposed to show? Especially when they're like, oh, well, don't show it if there's no gameplay. If it's not ready, why would they come here? And I got to give a huge shout out to Greg Miller. I was listening to the Kind of Funny Xcast, and he actually jumped in. Greg's he's a video game fan, but he's a huge PlayStation guy, right? He even said that. He's like, what's the benefit of Xbox being there? He's like, yes, they didn't necessarily have a great show, but at the same time, he's like, it's not like PlayStation did, like I mentioned. And he said something key. He said how, yeah, it would be great that if they had something there, but at the same time, wouldn't it be even better for something that's theirs first party to have their own event, to have all eyes looking at them? And I couldn't agree more. Like, do something in January, February, March, whatever. Supposedly something is coming. So I know that's a lot. And I also want to say, Paris Lilly, he mentioned how Aaron Greenberg, marketing guy at Xbox, tweeted after the show, hey guys, we know you want to see something. Don't worry. We've got something coming soon. He's like, why didn't he tweet that before the show? Would have been a great thing to be like, hey guys, we know you're excited for the Game Awards. We're not going to have a big presence there first party wise, but trust me, in the next month or so, we will have a big showcase, something before the show, before all this happens. So again, I know it's a lot. I personally am like, yeah, they weren't there, but big deal. Sony, Death Stranding 2, that's great. not a banger of a first party. It's not even a first party game. And then Nintendo, yeah, but Tears of the Kingdom, we knew that was coming. So again, what would they have shown that they haven't shown already? People would complain if they showed something again. We want the games, we want the dates. Bubble Boy, what are your initial thoughts on Xbox not being there and everything I've just discussed?
Well, it wasn't the most embarrassing part of the show. The most embarrassing part of the show was the show. The show was the most embarrassing part of the show. Exactly. I was trying to be very excited. I was like, oh, we're going to have such a great show next week where I can highlight all these things, to the point where my wife and Cora even sat down to watch a little bit of it with me at first. And we started with one of the most embarrassing things since Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, with Al Pacino on. That was
I heard he was like, where
to the entire video game community. He looked either high or drunk out of his mind. Couldn't read the teleprompter, acted like he couldn't read the teleprompter. Like he wasn't acting up there, I guess I should say. He was just like, what do they got is games, video games, go video games. It was the worst introduction I've ever seen. And then he gave the award to Chris Judge, who just went on for what felt like 45 minutes when they clearly did not have a plan for somebody like, and he's cussing up there and stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a special guest crawling right behind me. He's trying to hide. I believe that is Grace back there, who's on XRT.
Big old gray man.
Say,
so Grayson,
what do you want to say to everybody listening, my son?
Hi.
What do you want for Christmas?
That really sums it up.
Why don't you tell people what you want for Christmas?
A teary-eyed Grogu.
A teary-eyed Grogu. What else?
That's all.
Oh, that's sweet.
Hey,
what about?
I like it. Cheap date.
Would you
what
be
about
interested?
A Racer Red controller?
Yeah, a Race Red controller. What about that?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you like to play on Xbox?
Nothing.
You don't play anything? Well, that's true. You don't really play much.
He's a PlayStation fan. Dang it.
No, what's the one game you play? I let you play that one time. Forza.
No, you did.
No, you played.
And the truth comes out.
No, he played Forza. Oh wait, Grayson, do you want to tell him your gamer tag, that your nickname? Is it G Wally, or did you want to do, what was the other one?
Yeah.
G Wally. He also thought about being Grayson 117 as his gamer tag.
Ooh, I like that.
Cool.
Is that taken?
No, it's not. Well, I mean, you can pick anything. It just gives you a number, but it's still cool. I don't think it would be.
That's impressive.
All right. Love you, buddy. Have fun. Good night. Love you.
Thanks for the Christmas card, Grayson. Great to see you, buddy.
Oh,
heck yeah.
Listen, Jose and Bubble Boy say thank you for the Christmas card. Say thank you for yours.
Thank you for yours.
All right. See you, buddy. Love you.
Oh, he got one from the Seagulls?
Well, I just saying. Sorry to interrupt there.
No,
Sorry.
So, that was a perfect.
That was like Chris Judge going on too long. I heard.
And it was offensive.
I gotta say something, Bubble Boy. Hold on. I didn't watch that, you guys. I didn't watch anything.
Fine. You didn't miss anything.
Awards.
It was embarrassing.
But I heard this consistently. Pacino lost. And
here's
Judge
what we literally turned it off right after that.
Egotistical.
Ashley was like, she's like, Chance, this is why I can't get into video games. I was like, I lost my, like, do you know how
you missed your shot,
that
bud?
was? Yeah. Like, I was genuinely upset. I don't like to dog on a lot of things, but they 1,000,000% blew it with the casual audience, right? And I'm not even part of that casual audience. There's not going to be next time. I guarantee you there's not going to be next time, because anybody who didn't care about video games that bothered to tune in, and then they cut off, like, who was it they cut off that? Oh, Bowser. They cut off Bowser, like, as he's walking up the stairs. They cut off Bowser, and I'm like, "What? This? Are you kidding me?"
And we didn't even mention at the end with Elden Ring and the Bill Clinton guy.
See, and I didn't even get that.
And
far.
I saw that. I was like, "What was that?" That was I randomly tuned in right there at the end for Game of the Year. And then I just remember, I'm like, okay, they're walking him off, the music's stopping, and then all of a sudden it stops, and they go back, and there's just some guy.
Yeah, yeah, no security, and it's like,
besides the awards being bad.
Who's that guy? Is that guy like famous now?
Oh, who cares? Anyway,
no, I know, but so aside from that,
Xbox's lack of presence.
Yes.
What do you think?
Bad
look.
Not necessarily, because here it could have been a worse look. What would have been a worse look is if they were like, Starfield 11/11/23 and then didn't deliver, right? I think a big part of it was that they put Halo on launch day, Starfield 11/11, Redfall's December of 22, right? And they're like, guys, we got to stop doing this. That's more upsetting to people.
They need to
In the
know
long
exactly
run,
when they're going
right?
to launch.
People would be way more upset if they put out another release date that they didn't hit. And so the safe bet, yes, they're going to take a little hit right now, but they're not going to take a massive hit when they don't make that date. So I was okay with it. And again, yeah, what did you want them, unless they were going to give us a definitive date that they could guarantee to hit? What I don't know.
Yeah,
What more do
and
you
if
want?
they had shown like Avowed or something, but they're like coming in 2025, like what's the point of that? Or even 2024. It's like I like knowing what's in the next year, but at the same time, I'm scared, Bubble Boy. Starfield, you guys, is that it's think of it this way, and this is another good point that people brought up though, and I guess the counter argument would be is we know from now until June, the next E3, Starfield, Redfall, and Forza Motorsport are supposed to come out. When are these games coming out? And I got a bad feeling about Starfield. I'm thinking, how are you gonna tell everyone, hey, we need to delay it an entire year? Like, I feel like that's coming. And
I
I'm
have a
afraid.
good feeling about it, and I think they might do what they did with Fallout 4, which is next
It's
month.
ready.
Yeah,
I hope so. But then here's the other
get your
point.
wallets ready.
A bunch of games are coming out in June, and that's where I would think you would want to launch it. Ooh, too many games,
But
guys.
Elden Ring came out in February, bud.
Yeah, I'm not.
I think he means there's too many other things coming, because that's
exactly.
when
That's
Diablo
what
comes out.
Yeah,
and-
Diablo, Final Fantasy, and I'm forgetting there's probably one more. But anyway, Jose, what do you think about Xbox's lack of presence and just your general thoughts about what we've been discussing at the Game Awards?
I don't necessarily disagree with you guys. I will say, and I'm probably in a more unique camp here. I don't understand why everyone's getting so upset. In the sense that, like, look, I would have loved to see Xbox there. Like, as a big Xbox guy, I would have loved for them to come out and show a bunch of really amazing titles, and like just made me feel real prideful. But it doesn't have to flip the coin if it's not the case. Like, I don't have to feel shame if they don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because here's the other part that I think is the issue, and I think this is the bigger issue. The Game Awards is a misnomer. It is not an award show. It's a trailer and news show that they use as a guise for awards. And so here's where I would have an issue with that. And I'm not trying to blindly defend Phil and Sarah or Bowser or anybody really, but if Jeff Keighley, this is his baby, right? And if he says we're going to have an award show, and Xbox, so I'm just like I'm playing Sarah or Phil right now, and I say, okay, look, I could probably ask my teams to put together a sizzle reel from Starfield, something people haven't seen, 60 seconds. They would love it. I could probably ask them to put more Redfall out, even though there's quite a bit out there. I could probably ask for more Forza Motorsport too, if I wanted to. However, this isn't my show. And in the interest, the couple things, there's two kind of pieces. One is that in the interest of this huge lawsuit that's going on right now with Activision Blizzard King, there might be strategy in kind of laying low in this major event. Secondarily, it's not our event. And so if Jeff Keighley, and again, I don't know the back behind scenes, maybe he did ask, if Jeff Keighley's not asking for that stuff because he has all these other things planned, including Pacino and stuff, and he says, we just want you there. And I said, no problem. I'm a team player. I'm here to show the gaming community that I'm part of the community and I support all the games, even those that are not mine. I think that could have been a strategic and good move, especially if, like we found out from Greenberg, that there's something else coming. Because that could be what happened, is that Phil and Sarah said, look, we're going to hold this cool event in January, something brand new, right? And maybe we're going to do what Chance said, and we're going to pull this is coming next month, surprise, enjoy, have so much fun. And the others are coming later on this year, and everyone will be so happy. But in this time between the awards and now, everybody is just losing their caca. And here's the thing, and I'm not faulting Ryan. Like, I love Ryan McCaffrey. I think he's a very balanced, really great reporter on games, and he's put in his time. But I think he just, it's that thing I talked about last episode, that people's expectations are just not managed anymore. We are expecting the world for every game and every announcement, and that's just not how it works. It's just not. And so I went
Well,
into this.
hold on. You're not saying like like that I had too high expectations for the show to be good, are you?
No,
You're saying
no.
more about like
Oh,
the
I mean,
people's
you want it, yeah.
Xbox
You
stuff.
just wanted
Okay.
it to be decent.
But for people to say, because here's the thing, and I've only listened to part of the trophy room from a couple weeks ago. I've been really behind on listening to stuff. It's just been busy. But I was laughing when Joe and Kyle were like making their predictions, and they were like, "We're going to see Spider-Man 3, and we're going to see this stuff," because that even though they were joking, and even though they were very mellow about it in the end, that is what everyone is doing worldwide. And Dan, I hear you when you said, did millions of people really watch it? Millions might be high, but I think hundreds of thousands, truly,
Yeah.
across the globe, hundreds
People
of
like
thousands of
us,
people.
and maybe slightly more casual fans, but
That's
really,
also who's complaining. They're not complaining about this on the Today Show. They're not complaining about this on
you're right. It
USA
is the
Today, right?
hardcore who are
This is the
complaining. You're right.
hardcore gaming community that we're very early. We're new to this, right? We're the green people in this, no pun intended, right? But that's really what this is about. So to answer your question and to wrap this up, my thoughts, I don't think that
It's
it
the
was
end of the
that big of a
world.
deal. I
It
think
would
we
have
have
been
lots of
nice.
time. I think it would have been cool to have, and I think it would have been nice to say we're here. But honestly, what got me more excited was like a lot of the games I've loved playing this year have not been first party titles. And so I really liked more the idea that here were these other really cool things that aren't necessarily first party. I think the question I had more than anything is like, what's going to be on Game Pass? Not that I'm not willing to spend my money, but I'm sure there will be some of these that they're going to try to finesse into there because that would be smart to do, right? To continue that subscription service. So that's kind of where I went and what I'm hopeful for they will add to Game Pass, but we'll see.
Yeah, and there were some great third party. It's not like there's nothing coming to Xbox. Like there just was a lack of first party. There are some great games that we saw trailers for, and I want to close out on this and just we can. This also I feel like adds into it. And again, this was from Greg and Snowbike Mike talking about it, and it's true. Is if Xbox wasn't having such a kind of an off year, would people really be losing right now? Like if had Starfield had just come out last month, nobody probably would have cared if Xbox wasn't here, right? It's just been that kind of year. The FTC filing happened that day. Like, so it just, like, I remember the Dukes were like, this is the worst week in Xbox history. I'd be like, no, the worst week in Xbox history was when PlayStation released, this is how you share games. And you see what's his face giving it to Shuhei. Like that killed the Xbox One, that generation from that one single ad. So again, it is time though. 2023, all these games better come and they all need to be pretty dang good. And we no more slouching, no more waiting. It's got to start happening next year. I still have faith. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Yes, Xbox has been at the Game Awards showing the Series X and Hellblade a couple times, but other than that, like whatever. Maybe next year. I feel like next year they're going to overdo it and be like, "Here's Avowed," and they'd be like, "Oh, why wasn't this year last year?" But like Jose said,
and Hellblade will be out there.
Timing is
December.
everything. Timing is everything. It's not
Phil
not
Spencer's. He's in that position for a reason, and I think he's smart, and I think he's not going to overreact to something that like that. Not that it's little in the gaming community, but people are going to stop talking about it. I think the other reason that they're talking so much about it is because people are so burnt out and tired of talking about the
Activision Blizzard. We need
I'm
something
sick
else
of
to
it
yell
too.
about.
I don't even want to talk about it. So let's get it over with now
else.
before we talk more about the Game Awards. Well, no, let's continue with the Game Awards. So here are the winners at the Game Awards. Who cares? Game of the Year, Elden Ring. Great. That what else? Game direction, Elden Ring, of course. Narrative, God of War, Ragnarok. I don't know, Chance. Maybe you have an opinion on that. Art direction, Elden Ring all the way. Score and music, Ragnarok. Audio design, Ragnarok. Best performance, Christopher Judge talking about himself for 40 minutes. Games for impact, As Dusk Falls. There we go. Ongoing game, Final Fantasy 14. I hear a lot of great things about that. Best indie, surprised about this one. I mean, I guess Stray I've heard Stray was cool, but everyone just talked about it being a game about a cat. I've heard way more positive things about Neon White, Cult of the Lamb, and then even what's the one you guys played? Everybody Saves the World. And Tunic.
I love that game.
Tunic. Yeah. This one I really hate. Best debut indie, I guess because it won best indie of Stray. I think Tunic should be there, or Vampire Survivors could have any of those. You don't have to give them both to Stray. I don't necessarily agree with that. Best community support, again, Final Fantasy 14. Best mobile game, Marvel Snap. Heard good things about that. Best VR AR, who cares? Moss 2. Best action, Bayonetta 3. I'm kind of surprised about this. Is there a best shooting game? Oh, I guess best multiplayer. Best role playing, Elden Ring. I mean, I love Elden Ring. Is it a role playing game? I guess. Fight.
Everything seems like a role
Yeah,
playing
they
game anymore.
made all that on Season Gaming. Best fighting multiverses. I did hear good things about that. Best family, Kirby. Lego Star Wars, maybe chance. And best sim strategy, Mario and Rabbids. Not really my genre. Best sports / racing. Oh, I didn't know Gran Turismo won. Good for them. That's cool. This one's surprised me. I hear Splatoon 3, you guys, is broken and the multiplayer doesn't work, and yet it won best multiplayer. That one kind of very surprising to me. I would think maybe give it to Call of Duty this year. Most anticipated is Tears of the Kingdom. Creator of the year, I do like Ludwig. Actually, I've watched his stuff, guys. He's pretty dang funny. I watch some of his stuff on YouTube. So best adaptation, Arcane, League of Legends, innovation and accessibility, God of War Ragnarok. I've heard that was deserving. Esports, Valorant. Best esports athlete, I have no idea who Jacob Ye Whitaker is from Cloud9. And best sports
Well,
team, Valorant, or Loud for Valorant. Go ahead,
and
Chance.
the Halo Championship Series is nowhere to be found in any way on
Yeah,
any of
I
those.
mean,
And it
and
just
yeah, like FaZe,
feels like they were making a point to keep it off
keep
of
Halo
there.
off of here. Yeah, and I would agree with you on that. But I know of Optic Gaming and some of the players on there from Halo because they actually really did dominate this year. So you're right. Good point. They didn't have anything for. I would have liked to have seen that best esports coach Matthias Berserker Tarasconi from Valorant. Best esports event, League of Legends. See what I hear. Yeah, like you said, Chance, the Halo Championship Series just happened, and Ames was saying like that's one of the biggest viewership ever. It wasn't even nominated. So there are your winners, guys. Let's jump into your favorite announcements for the show, and I'm just gonna listen to yours because I'll be honest, I heard about these. I didn't really watch them. To me, some of these seem like a far ways off. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Bubble Boy. What were your top 5
Yeah,
announcements?
so there were a couple of honorable mentions because I have no idea what to expect from these games, but they looked cool. And none of this I saw live because, like I said, I
Yeah.
turned it
Why would
off.
you? Yeah, you can just watch it.
Exactly. So that Crime Boss, Rockay City, that one with all the
With
movie
Michael Madsen and
stars,
all them. Yeah.
yep, like that looked pretty cool. And it reminded me of like Cyberpunk a little bit. So I'll depending on how much it costs and stuff like that and what else is coming out at the time, I'll hopefully play that at some point. And then of course, if anything that From Software touches comes out, I'm going to be excited about it now. It's where they started, right, with Armored Core. So Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. I've never played any of the Armored Core games, and I think this will be one of those ones, Jose, where I think people need to temper their expectations, and not that it won't be a good game, but that it won't be Elden Ring. It won't be
Yep.
a Soulsborne game. It's not Sekiro. But they did mention at least how they're like, well, we've learned a lot from those, and you'll see some influences. So we'll see. I think they've earned my trust that I'll check it out. So my actual top 5 announcements that I was excited for: Hades 2, that came out of left field. Judas, the game from Ken Levine, which is the guy that did BioShock games. That game looked like BioShock 4. So that perfect, right? How can you complain about that? The fact that Diablo 4 got a release date, that was number 3 for me, June 6th. Number 2, Death Stranding 2. I am excited. I liked that game. It was not a walking simulator. You both need to try it. It's legit. Stop with that face, Daniel. And then number 1, which I imagine both of you will have at the top of your list too, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, release date of March 17.
Yeah, I'll go next, Jose. I don't have 5, but similar to Bubble Boys, I don't need to watch any of these. Like these games were already going to be a purchase free. But like Chance said, Judas, that's very cool. Exactly like you described it. Very excited to see Ken Levine. Basically, this is going to be BioShock, a new BioShock game. Very excited for that. That was very surprising as well. Uh, the Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Very excited for that. I don't need to see anything. In fact, I'd rather not. I just want to experience it. And then what was the other one? Diablo Release Date, cool. Again, I'm going to buy that. I don't need to see anything else. What was the other one you said, Bubble Boy, that I'm
You're not going to
forgetting?
buy it. It's going to be free on
Hades
Game
2?
Pass.
No, I never played Hades.
Death Stranding, Crime Boss, Armored Core.
Armored Core.
I mean, I'm interested in Armored Core, but is that going to be a game day one for me? Probably not. Yeah, for me, it's Star Wars, it's Judas, and Diablo. I mean, those are the ones, and I don't need to see anything like I was going to buy those. But concerning boys, I believe Jedi Survivor comes out like a week before Resident Evil 4, and I'm like, I don't know if I could handle both of those at the same time, Jose.
That's what she said.
So, Jose, what about you? Tell me what you are most anticipating from the Game Award announcements.
I mean, I agree with a lot of what Chance said, so I'm not going to repeat those. I'm with you, Dan, in the sense that like I didn't necessarily need to see the Diablo and then the Star Wars because those are a must play for me.
Diablo was like a CGI trailer, and it's like, guys, I mean,
But
CGI is
No,
cool.
just the announcement of the date was more.
No, I know.
Yeah,
no,
that's-
I'm just
that's
saying,
what's
like the
big.
trailer itself, though, was just all CGI. I'm like, that's cool.
But what I think is cool about Diablo that I think some people are talking about is that it looks like it's more of a return to kind of the gothic horror roots of Diablo, which is where Diablo 1 and 2 came in. Diablo 3, which to be fair is where I picked up the series, it's I think where also Dan and maybe Chance picked up the series, was still in that realm, obviously, of magic and monsters and the devil and heaven and hell and that kind of stuff, but it was also cartoon-esque. It was like a stylized version of it where I think the original two were kind of more in that scary quote unquote realm, and I think this is kind of a return to that. So that, again, being a horror fan, that's big for me. The other stuff that you didn't talk about, because I agree with you, the other things, I'm so pumped, and I would like to see more, but I don't have to see more. Suicide Squad, like they did a little.
So tell me about this. I heard about the homage to.
If you haven't seen the trailer, go watch it because it's actually really funny. And what I will say that I think that DC, I know there's a whole shakeup right now. They just announced the Henry Cavill thing that they thought was happening is not happening. Like there's a whole shakeup in DC right now. I will give it to James Gunn though that the stuff he's done with DC was awesome. Suicide Squad, that second movie,
and
was
Marvel.
Baller. Peacemaker show on HBO, amazing. So I am really pumped for kind of that adaptation into gaming, and I love the premise of the game that basically that the Justice League has gone bad because of, I don't know, a virus, a microchip, something has made them bad, and so the Suicide Squad is being hired to take out these superheroes. But the trailer is very funny. It's basically like Captain Boomerang has the Flash, like they've captured him, and he's like either like on drugs or they knocked him out or something, and he's kind of like falling, and he's basically like threatening him, and then he like accidentally cuts off a finger, and he's trying to hide it from the other Suicide Squad because they'll get mad at him. And then all of a sudden, and this is where everyone just went nuts, Batman shows up. And the reason that is significant, and this is a tiny bit of a spoiler, but it's like a decade old spoiler, so don't get too mad, is that in the video game world, in the Arkham world, Batman is gone. And that's, again, I'm sorry for that spoiler, but if you played Arkham Knight, which is a phenomenal game, that whole series, it ends with kind of that outcome, that he's not there anymore. And so seeing him come up in the game was cool. And so that there's a question of like, how is this happening? Is this obviously just a different universe? That could be the case. But what everybody went nuts about was that it was voiced by Kevin Conroy, the late Kevin Conroy. And so the trailer itself even ends kind of abruptly with just a big screen that says, "Thank you, Kevin," and then a bat symbol. That was just like, it hits home. And for a generation of people that we are part of that generation where the voice of Batman was Kevin in TV shows, in video games, this is his final showing, right? And what a almost beautiful way to do that now that he's obviously passed. You know, he was able to obviously record all of this before he passed away. So
I got to ask Jose real quick. Are you mad that they showed that? I know it was related, you know, kind of giving him respect because he just recently passed away. Or would you have rather not known that he was in the game and then hear his voice in the game?
No, I think it was, I'm not mad at all. I'm very happy that they did it in this sense. I don't think it spoiled it because I think in my opinion, if you're going to have a Justice League game, you have to have Batman. Like, yes, it's a team of 7 or 9, depending on which one you're talking about, but like easily the top 3 are always Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. That is always the top 3 of the Justice League. So it was pretty much, you knew it was going to happen. And I actually would have rather known that it's Kevin, because that makes me want to play it even more, as opposed to waiting and then it's someone else. And not that that person would do a bad job, and not that it would be a reason to not play the game, but this just, I think, makes it even that much cooler. So other just quick ones for games. There's a Transformers game that's coming out. You only saw a CGI trailer, but honestly, I've never played a Transformers game, and that could be really cool the way that they did it. There's this new one coming out called Banisher's Ghosts of a New Eden that looked very interesting to me. And it was from, I can't remember what the publisher was, but they've done some other stuff that was like nothing like this. There was also Immortals of Avium and this other one I can't remember, but I'll tell you, there are a lot of games that look a lot like Elden Ring, like a lot like a From Software game.
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
clear that Elden Ring and its success has influenced at least the art style, the monsters and kind of look of soldiers and that third party thing of Elden Ring. Hopefully these studios will be able to capture that same fun, but a lot of really, really cool stuff. And then the last one, or last two, I should say, there was a really cool retro futuristic platformer called Replaced that looked really cool. Like it looked 2D, but it was like very stylized and beautiful. And it was like almost a cyberpunk setting that looked very interesting that I was intrigued by. And there was a Hellboy game called The Web of Weird that is like a cell shaded, it looks like a comic book, but you're playing like the comic book Hellboy. And like, I liked the Hellboy stuff. So I'm super excited for that to come out. There's no release date or anything. And of course, the Cyberpunk DLC, the Phantom Liberty, which Idris Elba, gotta love that guy. So I'm excited for that too. So
Very excited for that.
Overall, I love that there's stuff. I was happy to watch all of these later. I didn't watch any of the award show because one, I was busy. I was at my 8th grade parent night, but also
millions of viewers.
But also, again, I still think it's a misnomer. Like, I know what Jeff is doing, and I'm not knocking him for that, but don't call it the Game Awards, bud. Give it a different name. You can still give out awards, but then really say what it is, which is a way to release games.
Like the BAFTAs, which are a little bit more respected between video game producers and their peers. Guys, that has been the Game Awards. Reactions to trailers, the news, lack of Xbox. Let's move in to the next news story. I'm just gonna read these and we're moving on, because we're not going to talk about these ever again until something happens. Either it goes through or it doesn't. FTC sues to block Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of Activision. This was on the New York Times. This move by the commission signals an aggressive stance by federal regulators to thwart the expansion of the tech industry's biggest companies. And then in reaction to that, this just came out 2 days ago. Microsoft has offered Sony a deal to bring Call of Duty to PlayStation Plus. It's reportedly part of the broader 10-year deal that Microsoft has offered Sony for COD. There you go. FTC is going to block it. They have a date in August to go to trial. If it goes that far, we'll talk about it then. Does anybody need to say anything about this? Jose or Chance?
I couldn't read the article because there was a paywall.
Yeah,
and I'm too cheap to pay for it. But I heard that there was the filing.
Okay, so we will not be talking about Activision, Microsoft, and the acquisition talks until, again, if it goes too early. I might be
talking about it.
Or if it goes to trial. I just don't even care anymore. Like I said, I'm more excited about Bethesda and all their games. So whatever. Sorry, Bacon. I know you love Call of Duty and Blizzard. Guys, let's move. Speaking of Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2 overtakes Elden Ring as 2022's best-selling game in the U.S. It held off God of War. Well, I mean, of course. Oh, this was for the November sales chart. Sorry, it was number one over God of War and Pokemon. Not surprising to me. Who wanted to discuss this, Bubble Boy?
I didn't realize it was just for November they were talking about. I thought that was saying it like for 2022 in general.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure it is for 2022 in general. I mean, is that surprising? Like, isn't Call of Duty the number one selling game every year? So
it was surprising in the sense that
it's more surprising about Elden Ring.
Which part?
How many, like, didn't it sell like 16 million copies or something like that? Like, that's insane. Like 4 or 5 times, like, I think it was 4 times the amount. Like,
no, and
Dark Souls game ever sold.
I certainly don't want to trash on any listeners or anything, but it's just kind of sad to me that something like Call of Duty that had for the third year in a row now, 4 years calendar years, but third game release in a row, awful reviews, and that people are still buying it. And it's just so sad that Elden Ring, it was the game of a generation. Like, it might even go down. We'll talk about this later, but as my favorite game of all time, and that people just aren't. Obviously, people are buying it, people love it, but that the masses aren't getting into it. It just kind of, I don't know.
It is crazy about the masses chance, because you're absolutely right. Like, what are the best selling games every year? Madden, Call of Duty, NBA 2K, FIFA. Like, and that's literally all people will buy, or they'll play Fortnite or Apex for free. Like, again, this goes back to that console lack of growth. That's what she said. And in the industry, like, it really, the hardcore audience, yeah, will buy games, but even God of War selling 5 million, is that really that big of a deal if you have over 25 million people jumping into Warzone? And let's say they spend just $5 on a skin, they're going to make way more money than I mean, obviously, than God of War will ever make. So, Jose, go ahead before we move on.
No, that's the point that I was going to make. You know, I agree with you, Chance, that as the game of a generation, it is sad that more people didn't play it, even though there's been obviously a lot. But it's kind of not really comparing apples to apples, in the sense that, like, a casual gamer, even someone who doesn't call themselves a gamer, is likely at some point to play Call of Duty. And even someone who's not a gamer, the odds of them getting into the game enough to buy a PC, to buy a console to play it, is incredibly high, versus the odds of someone trying to pick up a console or PC for Elden Ring is incredibly low. Because the other part of it you have to remember is that the learning curve and the bar to enjoy the game is much higher for Elden Ring, and it's a long burn, right? You don't get immediate satisfaction. I would argue you get the opposite, right? You get a lot of immediate, like, struggle, because that's just the way that the game is built. Where Modern Warfare and Warzone, and to be fair, all those games, Fall Guys, and arguably parts of Halo and the multiplayer, like, it's quick return, they're short games, it's fun, it's competitive, it's your friends. Like, that's what makes those games successful. I mean, that's like, it's kind of the pillars that, even, like, think about the Wii were built on, right? The Wii in of itself wasn't that great of a system. It was this thing that people could play, and you could play with grandma, who has literally never picked up a controller, but she could be like, "Grandma, just go like this," and she'd see the tennis racket swing, like, "Oh goodness," right? Like, that was what was so compelling. That's kind of the same thing that happens here. So I think it's honestly interesting that Elden Ring is still being considered almost 9 months later as a top selling game. That, I think, is incredible, actually. And then, I knew it was going to be overtaken by Warzone. And to be fair, just to kind of loop end this, and I'll end my conversation here, this is exactly why Sony's fighting for Call of Duty, right? Because this singular game that came out in 1 month is making just sickening money. Now, granted, I think that's a crappy argument in the grand scheme of all of gaming, but this is why. This is exactly why it's a big deal in this whole situation, and why people are fighting for it. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
Everybody buckle in. We're all going to be playing Call of Duty like games, and battle passes, and content seasons free to play. The death of single player games. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of single player games, a single piece of Elden Ring DLC could steamroll most of 2023's big games. I don't know about that.
Exactly.
And who brought this up?
So I put it on there too, because Cordy Morgs, a huge fan of the show, is ecstatic about this DLC, and I will fire up Elden Ring to just go check it out a little bit, and I want to be able to walk into the Coliseum, because I remember when I on my first run on Elden Ring being like, there's got to be the coolest thing ever in here, right? And I didn't know that you couldn't get in there, and so I spent all this time trying to get into the Coliseum when you couldn't get into the Coliseum, and it's right where all those like tree branches are and stuff. So I was like falling off tree branches and wasting all these souls just to find out you couldn't get in there. So it will be kind of satisfying to get into, but he was giving me all kinds of crap. He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You haven't already played it, and you're not gonna like spend." He's like, "I thought you guys loved Elden Ring," and I was like, "I do, but I don't know. It just
but Chance,
I didn't love the PvP stuff.
Yeah,
though.
I was gonna say, I don't think this is referring just to the PvE. I'm saying like a single player content for Elden Ring, even if, which of course we're all gonna play, but is that really gonna sell more than Starfield and Diablo and Final Fantasy? Like, I mean, yeah, it will be great, and people will get back into it. But I think, like Jose said, Elden Ring is not for everybody. Like
Yeah.
you have to put in the work. Even for me at the beginning, I was like, this game sucks. And then now it's one of my favorite games of all time, like maybe ever. So no, I don't think, even if Elden Ring comes up with an amazing single player DLC, yes, it'll be great, but it's not, there are going to be some banger slangers. 2023 is going to be nuts. So Jose, any thoughts on Elden Ring DLC, or should we move on to Final Fantasy?
Well, I would just I will just add, I think what the article is trying to make the argument for is that so many people bought Elden Ring and loved it because of the 16 million. I got to imagine 15 plus million of those people really loved the game and are ecstatic about it. Is that if this DLC comes out, so many people will be excited to jump back into that world. And if the DLC is priced right, I think that's the key. People will buy it without even waiting. And so that's where they could make so much money, right? So when you say, let's say the DLC comes out for $10, just theoretically, now you're talking 15 million times $10. You're making ridiculous money out of the gate. And that's what they're saying could steamroll sales. But does that mean people will finish the DLC? No. You know what I'm saying? Depending on when it comes out, people may have moved on. That's the other part you have to remember about Game of the Year contenders. Even though they are wonderful games, and Elden Ring, you're right, is a game of a generation. There's a healthy number of those people that were like, man, it was so great. And they're like, are you going to go back for the DLC? And they're like, probably not. I'm going to go move on to Starfield or something else. And that is, I think it's hard to account for that, obviously. But again, I hope they do, because again, for what it is to me is From Software, I think, has earned that money. And so even if I don't really plan on playing the DLC that much, I'll pay for it, because again, I want to support the developer so that they can keep making great games. And if I like the DLC, great, I'll finish it. And if I don't, I'm not going to feel bad about that money, because I definitely got my money's worth out of that first playthrough of Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, I mean, guys, I beat it 3 times. Three different systems.
I was gonna say, yeah, I beat it 3 times too. Legitimately beat it 3 times.
Oh God, so did I. What are you talking?
I know, my
Cordy
God,
Morgs,
I know.
I'm not big into PvP. I don't think any of us are going to check out the Coliseum. Some people really go crazy. I've looked up videos on PvP stuff, just not for me. I'm all about playing against the AI. So absolutely day one though for any other DLC apps for me. But I think other games are going to sell more. Yes, guys. Hey guys, let's talk about Final Fantasy 1 through 6 Pixel Remaster coming to Switch and PS4. Guys, Final Fantasy, go ahead, take it away.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I was excited. Have you really never played one?
Well, here's the thing. No, I say
6?
that jokingly. I hear these are some of the greatest ever made, greatest Final Fantasies.
So tell Pony this was one of the titles. Or
well,
one of the
yeah, he would love this.
He'll tune in.
Colin Moriarty, Sacred Symbols. This is like some of his favorite games of all time. See, he's like, why isn't this on PlayStation? Why is it on? What is it on PC only right now? I don't know. But anyway,
it's PC and PS4.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about Xbox.
Half of why I put this article on here. I was like, who made up that decision? Like, what were they thinking? I don't.
Yeah. So right now it's on PC and mobile. So I guess.
But then it says and coming soon to PS4. What?
I don't know. What? Square is either being bought out, or they just like to mess with Xbox,
or they're trying to parlay their way into the PlayStation Store, the PlayStation Pass. That's what they're trying to do.
But
to
why
get them
not
to buy
say
that out.
PS5 and PS4? And I don't.
They want them to buy it.
It should have been. Honestly, this should have come out on every platform day one. So no, I do hear great things about these games. Would I be interested? Possibly, yes, Bubble Boy. And you're right, Pony would maybe like something, but I've been thinking about a lot more chance. I don't think I'm as big of a Final Fantasy fan as I thought I was.
And I'm glad you said that, because I have no real. I don't feel committed to buying 16
or like JRPG.
And that is by far the first time I've ever.
And you played 12. You played 15. I beat 15.
Yeah, Jose.
Really. Go ahead.
No, I just want to add. So here's what it is for me. Because I was a huge Final Fantasy fan for 7, 8, 9 into 10. Once we got into like 11, 12, I think I fell off a little bit. What I appreciate the beauty of it. And I know they're a huge fan, so I'm not knocking those fans. I like turn-based combat. That's what I loved about Final Fantasy. Like, I like the ability to like think and strategize in my head. And the second that they started moving to like the real-time strategy like that, it just wasn't as enjoyable for me, because the truth was like, I didn't always love some of the stories, even of some of the older games. Like, I think the last story that I really liked was 8. The others were okay.
Heck
I think
yeah, 8
I like
represent.
I liked the 10 with what was the game you used to play in the big bubble chance? You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
Blitzball.
Blitzball. I like that piece too, but that I like
Was
the
it really that
turn-based
good
combat.
though? Like if we went back and played Blitzball right now, we'd be like, is this
But I'm saying it was a formative time in my life. Like I remember viscerally that
exactly
time where like Chance to Live
PS1,
by
middle
Bear Creek and I Was a
school?
Green Mountain, and like it was incredible graphics for the time. You know what I'm saying? And it was honestly when I was still a PlayStation guy before I had really got into
But
Xbox.
see,
It was
that's it.
kind of
I
those
need to
seminal years.
stop you right there, Jose. And that's what I've also realized is all of my favorite PS1 memories are all third-party games. I have no connection to PlayStation first party, even into PS2. Like that
Uncharted?
PS1. Well, exactly. That was what, PS3? Exactly. That PS1 back
Oh,
there.
PS2, right? Wasn't the
No,
first one PS2?
no. Uncharted
Maybe
1
it
was
wasn't.
PS3, you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Guys, that PS1 probably one of my favorite consoles of all time, and all the games I think about are all third party that happen to be on PlayStation
that's
only at
okay.
the time.
Like,
No,
it
I agree,
doesn't
but I'm
have
just saying,
to-
like, that's why the Sony first party thing is never really. I'm not besides Uncharted, like you said, and I love Uncharted, but even if they made another one like Lost Legacy, you guys. Anyway, sorry, Jose. Go ahead. Back to Final Fantasy and your
No, so anyway,
feelings.
that's what I say. I've actually never played 1 through 6. I've never played them, but because I started with 7. But I really like the turn-based combat. I love the pixelated
You might
style,
like it then.
like Stardew
See, and I
Valley.
think this is right up your alley then,
Well,
because
but see, here's the thing: it's on iPad, and I would not buy a PlayStation for this or a Switch for this. I'd probably just play it on my iPad,
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
probably fine on my iPad because you're just
Oh,
you're not
yeah.
you don't have to physically
I
move or
played
anything like
I
that.
played 6 and 1 on my iPad, in fact.
Yeah. So I might check it out, but again, I have so much to play coming up that this is like one of those like backlog or like maybe a travel game. That might be a good travel game. We'll see.
Okay, guys, let's close the Xbox news this week with Wario tweeting out earlier today the Xbox Store countdown sale on Xbox Live, or actually should be Xbox Network there. 945 games are on sale now. Here it is, boys. We're having another big end of the year, Christmas, New Year's sale. And I gotta say, I'm a little concerned. Sekiro down to $30. That's the cheapest you'll ever see it digitally. I think I gotta do it. And then Dark Souls 1 and 2. Do I buy Dark Souls 1 and 2? Do I go back to the beginning and play that? Or do I do Demon Souls? I don't want to use my PlayStation 5. I don't want to use that controller. But anyway, huge sales, guys. Huge sales.
Sekiro. You have to
Really?
play Sekiro. Yes, you owe it to yourself. After as much as you loved Elden Ring, you really liked Dark Souls 3.
But do I go back to Dark Souls 1 because I'm still good at Dark Souls combat? I know that's
do Bloodborne, do Sekiro.
Nah,
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
wanna do
saying.
Bloodborne. I'm good.
You cannot. Oh, parrying. Yes, there
Yes.
is parrying. It's still a From Software game.
I know.
You
I'm very
will
excited. I'm
like
gonna
it.
buy Sekiro. My thing is like, do I just go back to Dark Souls 1, do that to pay respect to the first game that came out, since my skills are still translating from Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3, because I do hear this is what Kyle has said, or not Kyle, Joseph has said, what I hear from JBiz, that Sekiro is a completely different kind of game and that you can't think of it like a Souls game. Otherwise, it's not gonna play as well.
I don't know. I think that might be trying to get. I don't necessarily agree with that. The some of the things that, if you think about what makes Elden Ring so satisfying, it's that commitment that you put in, the time you put in, the learning that it doesn't matter how many guides or cheats or cheeses that you're looking into at times. There are some bosses you can't do that to, and when you invest the amount of time that you do, you can't cheese the last boss, the cell or the Eachin something sword. It's so satisfying when you finish it, and
But the
that
rage.
yeah, and that doesn't change. That doesn't go away.
Okay.
It's a
I'm gonna
totally
get it.
different
Trust me.
setting, obviously,
I'm
but
gonna buy it now. Well, I do want to say, guys, this sale goes on 18 days. So yeah, this is the end of the year through New Year's kind of sale. Um, am I gonna get Call of Duty? It's on sale for 60.
I saw that too, and I was just
Probably
like,
not. No,
no,
I don't need to play the campaign right now, and I'm not playing Warzone enough as it is. By the way, Jose, I gotta throw it over to you. Do you like Warzone, or would you rather be playing something else? Because Alan really seems to like it, but I just see Alan looting. Like, it's just like, are we gonna get involved? Are we gonna
honestly,
shoot some people?
I would love to play more Halo. I haven't hated Modern Warfare, but here's the thing: I don't I don't plan on buying it, which means I'm never going to get to the like leveling up point of guns that I had back when we were playing Modern Warfare before. So it just doesn't appeal to me. I play because I want to play with my friends, but I honestly I'd rather play Battlefield or Halo. Truly, like I'm having a lot of fun with Battlefield. Real quick, speaking about the sales, a couple of things for listeners if you are just looking for some good buys. One hilarious buy, Needs for Speed Unbound, that literally came out like a week ago. It's already on sale for $42, down from $70.
Mass Effect $15. All the Resident Evils are like 10. Go ahead.
They're 10 and 15. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can pick up 2 and 3, the new versions, for $25 together. You can also pick up 7 for I think $15, which is worth it. Cyberpunk is only $30. Definitely worth it.
7 is only $8.
Red Dead Redemption 2, $20. Come on, you guys.
And if you go, I think it's on the second page, a couple like Dark Horse
Skyrim,
ones.
20.
That one, the Quarry's only 40. I might pick up the Quarry. I've heard.
I thought about that. 30. Yeah, you're probably looking at the PS4 or the Series. Goodness.
Oh, not Series X version. Do you really need that to be enhanced? Like,
are you sure that's what it's made for?
Are you sure that doesn't it not matter? We have smart delivery. Oh, it does say for Xbox One. You're right.
See, I know what I'm talking about.
So Corey, there's also
what I might consider is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is down to
how much?
Oh, but see, never mind, 20.
No,
but that's the
Pass. Wait for Game Pass to play that.
Wait, it's gonna be on Game Pass, like the.
Wait, you're right. Maybe that would, I don't know. Sony might somehow get them to block that to where they can't do it within the first like 10 years. Put it into Game Pass.
Blocking what? Why would they block? What are they blocking?
Concessions. Anyway. Oh, you're right. Here's the Quarry. It's only $35. It's $5 more. Like, who cares?
Yeah, that's worth looking into.
The Tomb Raider trilogy. If you never played those new reboots, if you get the trilogy for $20, that's a great price.
Amazing deal.
And I was going to ask you, Dan, because you put this on our chat today. Tell me about Sleeping Dogs. I'm curious. You said go play that, or Twitter. You said that go play that immediately.
Well, it's the running joke that Wario always puts Sleepy Dog, even though it is Sleeping Dogs. You've never played it?
No, what is
it? Worth your time and money. Well, I don't know.
It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto.
It's like Grand Theft Auto, but it's really great story, fun, much more fun and engaging. I would. Well, how much is it? If it's like $5-10,
it's
absolutely
$4.50.
It is totally worth $5, and I have it for free because it was a Games with Gold for a long time ago, and I've been planning to go back and play it. Yeah, it's everything.
Okay.
Jose, definitely worth $5. You will have a blast. It is a great story, fun combat. It's not as I would say bloated as Grand Theft Auto. It's you'd like it, Jose. Definitely worth. Chance, you liked Sleeping Dogs too. J Biz liked it.
I did. I'm not making fun of it.
Bubble Boy, you see anything? I'm still kind of looking over here, trying to share with people.
There's also the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games if you're into those. The remakes.
I might have to snag Cyberpunk again because I got a physical copy of that and I sold it back, and so that one is kind of jumping out to me. What about because I also somehow sold The Witcher? Is The Witcher on there anywhere?
Oh, I'm sure it is.
I hadn't been looking, but yeah,
I'm sure that will be there. I also have that. Okay, that's the other thing. Chance, do I do Witcher or do I do Sekiro / Dark Souls?
Yeah, so Witcher's on there for 24. Well, Daniel, okay, Witcher.
I didn't really like Witcher. I didn't really like it. I tried it for 10 hours. It just wasn't my thing. Guys, BioShock Collection 10. Dude, there's some banger slanger deals.
The Ollie Ollie World, which has got really rave reviews. It's an indie this year. $17.99. That seems like a good price for that, too. It's a good game to play with your kids.
Chance, did you play Dark Souls 2 by any chance? I hear that one's bad.
I did. And I got about halfway through it.
Yeah, very long.
I was just like, I hear one of these days when I have a massive backlog.
That's what she said.
I'll go back to it, I think.
Does that apply, Jose?
I was going to say, I don't know if that's, I would have put myself there, but
Metal Gear, dude, Metal Gear Solid 5 Definitive, $6. Like, come on. That's a Hideo Kojima game. If you haven't played any of them, well, yeah, because
I don't think he was really makes sense.
Guys, there are a lot of games for sale. And
lots of great stuff.
Awesome selection. I love Tomb Raider.
Cult of the Lamb is only $20.
I don't know. Too many.
I have it downloaded. I haven't played it yet, but I'm excited to play it. I might pick up Quarry. I really might because I want to play that.
Ooh,
35.
I just thought of another PSA here for PSP. Mass Effect Legendary Edition is free to download right now if you have PS
Nobody cares about PlayStation. Guys, just go pay $15
Daniel,
for
come
it.
on.
It's
For
on
as
sale.
much as you love that game,
Buy
letting
it.
people
No.
play
They
it
need
for
to buy
free,
it.
come
Support
on.
the greatest games ever made. Guys, do we have any other thing we want to mention on this game sale? Go check it out. So many good games. Let's end. I know it's kind of random. The show, like we always do, with the best food we had this week. Jose, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. So great. A little bit of good, bad news. Got to stop by Popeyes today. I was actually going to pick up some gift cards for my coworkers as their Christmas present. And turns out they don't sell gift cards at Popeyes. Like, I know there are gift cards. They just don't sell them at Popeyes. So I got to figure that out after the show. But here's the thing. I had already eaten lunch. I really wasn't even that hungry. But I would be doing a disservice to this show and really
Very
all
true.
foodies everywhere if I didn't take something home. So in that moment, because I had been curious, even though I trust Bubble Boy and he was not a fan, I was like, I got to try this freaking blackened chicken sandwich. And it was okay. It was not great. Because here's the thing. I think what I think makes a Popeye sandwich, I realize now, is that crunch. Like, it's that crunch mixed with the sauce, and it just doesn't have that, like, at all. And it's deceiving because the pictures make it look like there's a little bit of a shell on it, but it has none. I will say it's got a good spice level. I like the spice level, but it was an okay one for me. Definitely not going to buy it again, but it wasn't like a bad sandwich. So that was my first one. The other one that I will say is that we earlier this week, it was just busy weekend last week trying to get ready for Christmas and stuff. And so there was one of these nights where, like, I got to pull a full dad move where, like, Penelope had a friend over and Victoria was like, can you please take care of dinner? And I was like, great, girls, are you good with noodles? And they were like, yeah, we want noodles. And Victoria was like, I don't know if I want that. And so, but she did get noodles. And I was like, I want Firehouse. And right next to where we live, there's now a Firehouse and a noodles and a crumble cookie. And so I surprised the kids by bringing home a box of crumble cookies. I got my Firehouse sub. They got Noodles and Company. And man, Firehouse is like underrated, bud. I don't know what I have been doing not going there for years. Dude, they're very healthy sandwiches. They're delicious. I got the turkey bacon ranch sandwich was fantastic. They also have like a Philly cheesesteak that I need to try. They have a like a pastrami sandwich I need to try. But shout out to Firehouse subs, man. Like, absolutely delicious.
And,
That was
you heard it here first, people. Very healthy with bacon and ranch.
Those
very healthy.
Those are food groups.
I mean, to be fair, if that's all you ate, yes, it is healthy. Jose, I'll go next. Shout out. I got to give a shout out to Bubble Boy. He actually told me about something that was delicious. The Colorado burrito at Burrito Express that might be a part of my new standard. You get one breakfast, one Colorado. I was telling Jose, or maybe you guys too, maybe not so much fries, potatoes. Again, I don't need all the extra potatoes. I know some people love that, and I appreciate it. Next time I'll be like, light on the potatoes, please, for my Colorado burrito. But for those listening,
they're not going to get that. I just want you to understand that.
Yeah, I know. Jeez, it's either
going to be like
all or nothing.
Potatoes, ¿qué es eso?
Yeah. So shout out to Burrito Express. But guys, the best food I had this week was just the other day. Allie's parents are staying with us for half the time here, and they're going to be here for Christmas, and with Allie's sister as well. Allie made lasagna, homemade lasagna. My gosh, it was delicious. Had some spinach rolls. There was something else with it, some salad, some what's the fancy bread called? Where it's like
garlic bread.
Kind of garlic bread, but she just gets the big
bread
sticks. She gets the Texas toast and makes it into nice garlic bread. Guys, it was delicious. So shout out Allie. That was the best food I had this week. Bubble Boy, what about you?
Yeah, the Broncos Chiefs game. We had a big family thing that Mikey, I know, Daniel. Mikey Caveman Burgess and Shink came out to the farm for.
You saw Mikey?
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
wow.
The newlywed, he was live in
Shout out
person,
to
and so
Mikey.
they came out and
before you say your food, the game, you were a little nervous there. You're like, holy crap.
It was closer than you think for a little bit there.
If Russell doesn't have that freakish interception, one-handed return for a touchdown, we got a game. And if he doesn't get concussed, that was a game.
It was.
I was not expecting when they were down 27. I was about to text.
Nothing.
Yeah, I was about to text you guys. These fire them all, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, "Holy crap! These guys are balling out right now."
Yeah, but also because of course all week on the radio, everyone's like, "I don't know. Let's keep going." Russ and Nathaniel Hackett, like we can. I'm like, they had 2 good quarters of football.
They were great though. And dude, Mahomes threw what, 3 picks or something? Like 2 to Josie Jewell?
Josie
What?
Jewell had him locked
Dude,
down.
dude,
Like,
yeah,
he
he
must
made
have
some
known something.
reading him. So yeah, sorry,
clearly.
go ahead.
So
Back
that was
to the
cool.
food.
And I like Josie.
It's a good
Jewell.
game,
I
at
think it's
least.
cool that so my parents love entertaining, and they did it up that day. And my dad smokes ribs. I don't really even like ribs, but when he smokes ribs, and had the KC Masterpiece barbecue sauce on there, it was
Not
just
Sweet Baby
fantastic.
Ray's?
Not this time because the Chiefs were playing, so you gotta have KC Masterpiece.
Isn't Sweet Baby Ray's from KC? I think it's a KC
It
based
might
sauce.
be.
What?
It very much could be, but it doesn't have KC in the word, or in the name. So
oh.
it's a whole thing, and it worked obviously because they won. So
Barely.
yeah, my dad's smoked ribs were just to die for.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Bubba Boy. I'm not a big ribs guy either. Allie loves them. They're all. I'm like,
Yeah, too messy.
yeah, a
and
bit
I
salty too.
Like,
Right?
yeah,
Am I right? Yeah.
and
Anyway.
I have to work for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
You know what else
not
is
if they're
salty?
good. They melt off the bone anyway. Yeah, well, but guys, this has been Xbox Record This, episode 85. My name is Daddy D. Wally. You can follow me at Daddy D. Wally across all social media. You can follow the show at Xbox Record This. Be on the lookout, guys. We're going to have changes in January of 2023.
You're going to see some serious shit.
I couldn't have said it any better, Doc Brown. Chipotlebear, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Chipotle_bear. I've actually been making a lot of friends on Twitter. I followed a bunch of guys on Season Gaming and have been interacting with them, hanging out with Insipid Ghost, Luke Lore, and of course some of those guys, and of course chatting with Ains. We did send him a little care package as a thank you for joining our show. He said he got it. He was very grateful to get that. So also on Instagram at Chipotlebear, as we get here to break, obviously we'll be posting some more fun stuff over the holidays, and be on the lookout. Finally going to start hopefully creating some content for our YouTube channel as well.
Very exciting. And Bubble Boy, where can people find you? I've got a burp.
Yeah, on YouTube, I think, or TikTok, or both, or all the places where you can find short videos with our new patented XRT TLDR 7YC3PO
Trademark, patent pending.
review.
As always, you serious shitters. See you online.
See you online.
See you online.
See you online.
Hey, by the way, Nikki, check this out. What's Ozzy trying to say there?
John, absolutely nothing. The Blizzard always came straight with his messages. But wrap your minds around this, gentlemen. Oh, no. Chicago.
I love this song.
I command you in the name of Lucifer to spread the blood of the innocent.
Oh my God, Chicago kicks ass.
That was awesome.
Can't wait for Diablo.
Little Nicky sucks. Xbox Record This is a podcast created by Daniel Walenzik. You can follow him at Daddy Diwali on all social media. The assistant to the co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_bear on Twitter. The assistant to the co-host is Chance Siegel, and you can follow him at BubbleBoyN7. You can follow the show at Xbox Record This on all social media. If you'd like to find out more about the show, visit xboxrecordthis.com.